I'ma play my game. Just bought the core set and joined the game Discord. Scouring the internet for the packs I can't afford. But now I'm getting worried cause I see it everywhere. The game is dying, they all cry, now I'm a little scared. What the hell, I just bought this game. Now you're telling me it's dead, that's really lame. What do I do with all these cards? Maybe sell them at a sale in my yard. It looked like it might be something fun to play. Saw it on the shelf and brought it home that day. Opened the box, beat a rhino and was hooked. Now it might be dead and I am shook. What the hell, I just bought this game. Now you're telling me it's dead, that's really lame.
I'll never ever come back from this, cause I was caught off guard.
Hello and welcome to another live play stream for Caught Off Guard. I am Wasteland Sniper, and tonight if you watched the stream last week, you are probably wondering what happened to Echo. And I will tell you. So I had planned on spending the weekend playing with both Echo and Daredevil and kind of getting to know their kits and understanding the heroes a little bit better so that I would feel somewhat comfortable building an actual deck for Echo specifically. But unfortunately, UPS in this area was usually my go-to as far as like if there was one shipping company that I knew it would get here on time or even early, it was UPS. Not so much recently. The store's shipment was delayed for some odd reason, and this isn't the first time that this has happened for them, unfortunately. So what ended up happening is I could not pick up the game, and I didn't want to go and buy it somewhere else. I'm friends with the owner of the store, and it's like, well, I don't want an extra copy of Fear No Evil. As awesome as a lot of the cards are, I actually wouldn't mind having duplicates of a lot of the cards, a lot of the player cards at least. But I didn't want to just go buy it somewhere else. So I figured I'd be patient and wait, and it showed up on Monday. So that kind of like screwed my whole idea of spending time really getting to know Echo and putting together an aggression deck for her. Or even just like really getting comfortable with her Precon deck. And honestly, with the Precon deck, I know there have been a ton of people who've made content already where they were playing with the Precon deck, and so I was just like, I don't want to kind of rehash what everybody else has already done. You've seen the cards with Echo. You know that they're great with Echo. That she's insanely powerful with her Precon deck. Surprisingly so. So I figured I would do something a little bit different. I have been saying since the Echo, or at least thinking slash saying, that ever since the Echo article dropped and we started seeing some of her cards, like her Precon cards, be revealed, that there were a lot of cards that looked really, really good for Nightcrawler. And when all of the cards finally ended up getting spoiled, I am on record saying a few different times that you could take Echo's Precon deck, just take all of the protection and basic cards out of her Precon deck, Well, except for her team up card, with the exception of the team up card, which is a given, I think. But you could take all of those cards and just give them to Nightcrawler, and it would be a good deck. And that actually, like, when I was thinking about that, like, what am I gonna play this week, since I didn't really want to, try to muddle through Echo, not really feeling all that comfortable with her quite yet. I thought, well, why don't I take that, like, take what I think that you can basically take Echo's Precon, give it to Nightcrawler, and everything is going to be fine, that it will work really well. Let's test that out. Let's see how that works, because I understand Nightcrawler. He's one of my favorite heroes. I haven't played him nearly as much as I would like to, but I played him enough to understand how he works. So I am doing what I normally do with my Precon decks. Is when I get them, I go through them. If there is any card in it that is a max 1 per player card, I will decide if it's one of those cards where it's like, I'm not gonna need 3 copies of this in the deck. I realize the reason they put it in the deck is because they have to provide a full play set of a new card. So normally what I do with those is I'll take the extra 2 out, because usually you don't need more than the 1. I'll take the extra 2 out and I'll substitute a different card, like 2 different cards in for it, or 2 copies of a different card. And from there, then I'll play it, and I'm still getting the experience of playing with all of the new cards. It's just the deck has less chance of running into, those instances where you have essentially almost a dead card in your hand. Really, all it can do is give you a resource. I should also, I guess before I go on too much farther, not sure if you heard the thunder in the background, but we just had like a massive storm move in. So if I lose power and the stream goes out, I totally apologize. I was not expecting this to be a thing. It just kind of came out of nowhere. So yeah, there is that. I also want to shout out my friend, Dorsey. I got him into the game a few months ago, and he's really enjoyed it, and he bought me this player board, this Nightcrawler player board, from Buy the Same Token. And, like, isn't this awesome? Like, it's hard to tell, but, like, this part here, you can kind of see if I put my hand behind it, it goes dark. Like, this is, like, see-through. And, oh, it's so cool. I love it. And I'm super excited that I actually get to use this on stream tonight. I have more of these player boards. I should probably start using them. I love Buy the Same tokens. So, but and you could probably tell because I'm using them all the time on the stream. And no, I'm not sponsored by them at all, like, obviously. But I just really like their stuff. They make really nice upgrades for the game. Definitely not necessary, but this is my favorite game, so I splurge on blinging it out just a little bit. So, anyway, back to Nightcrawler here. And taking Echo's Precon deck and giving it to Nightcrawler and seeing how it works. This whole thing kind of gave me an idea for a new video series that I'd like to do. And, comment, send me an email. It's down in the, if you look down in the description, my email address is there, caughtoffguard@proton.me. And let me know if that's something that interests you, where I'm calling this series of videos, Whose Precon Is It Anyway? And American and British viewers will definitely recognize that as, you know, Whose Line Is It Anyway, from Whose Line Is It Anyway, which was both an American and a British TV show. I don't know if it's still running or not. It was long running. It definitely ran for quite a while. But it's basically just a show about improv, like where comedians do improv. Very funny show. If you've never seen it, you should look it up. But anyway, Whose Precon Is It Anyway? Where I'm going to be taking a precon from one hero and then giving it to another hero, like modified again, where I'm taking out the max 1 per player cards that I don't think I'm going to need, and then basically giving it to a hero that I think they could actually do a lot of really neat stuff with this precon, or this precon actually really fits with this particular hero. Obviously that's an issue with certain heroes. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to handle that yet, because you've got Adam Warlock, Gamora, Spider-Woman, Cyclops. Those are the ones off the top of my head that I can think of that have weird deck building restrictions that break the rules. So I haven't quite decided how I'm going to handle those. I may just decide, hey, you know what, I'll try it out anyway. I'll give Adam Warlock's precon deck to Doctor Strange, and we'll see how it goes. If the FFG police want to show up at my house, alright, for breaking the rules, because that's not how Doctor Strange is supposed to work. Whatever, but I think it'll be a fun series, and part of my goal with this series idea is to kind of show off cards that might not get a lot of love in the greater Marvel Champions community, or to help newer players who they might run into cards that they get a new collection. They're able to find some old stuff, but to just kind of help them see that, it is possible to take a precon deck and the cards in it, and, even if people are saying the cards aren't that good, well, maybe they actually can be useful. And, that probably won't be the case all the time, or maybe even most of the time, but it gives everybody a chance to kind of take a look at some different cards that you probably wouldn't normally look at. Yeah, so I just thought that would be an interesting idea, so we're going to go with that. I'm going to put Nightcrawler on his board here and move this off to the side, and we're going to talk about Nightcrawler's deck. So here's all his cards. These are all part of his kit. Oh, sorry, I got a frog in my throat. These are cards that I added, or not this one. This one actually came with the deck, but I don't really consider this to be that important overall, so I'm putting it off to the side. And then these are 3 cards that I added to this deck because one of the cards I had to take out was the team up card. Echo's team up card, which obviously is not going to work for Nightcrawler. And then the other 2 were replacing one card that is only a max 1 per player, that I was like, well, I'm not going to need more than 1 copy of this card. So we'll talk about those in just a sec, but I really want to go over what's in this precon that came from Echo. And the very first thing is Innate Reflexes. It's a starting card. This is a new thing. They haven't done this before. You'll notice that it does not have a resource down here in the corner, and that's because it can't be used to pay for anything. It starts in your hand. You can opt to not play it. I don't know why. If you're going to put a starting card in your deck, I don't know why you wouldn't play it. For this particular deck, the way that this deck works, I definitely want to be playing this. But it's Armored Vest, but as it starts in your hand, so you get +1 defense, which is great. This deck really likes a high defense, and Nightcrawler really likes to be defending a lot. You know, eventually if he gets his cutlasses out, he gets retaliate. So, you know, when he's defending all this damage and then he gets to hit back, that's, you know, super great. So that's one of the cards that I definitely will be playing out, and I don't even have to say I hope I see it early, because I definitely will, because it's a starting card. This one is one that I would really like to see early. Ronin, 1 cost upgrade. While you do not control any allies, your hero gets +1 defense and gains retaliate 1. So I can end up having retaliate 2 as long as I don't have any allies out. I only have 1 ally in this deck, and that's because she's part of Nightcrawler's actual kit, so I can't take her out. And she's super easy to get in play, to take a hit, and then she's gone again. She does provide some value with what she does is, you know, after she enters play, you search your deck and discard pile for a copy of Bamf, and then you attach it to an enemy and deal 1 damage to each enemy with a copy of Bamf attached. So she's definitely really useful, and she doesn't have to stay in play for very long. So she works pretty well, I think, with this deck. Like, she's not going to be, I think, throwing any wrenches into anything, because as soon as she leaves play, you know, when this is out, like, while she's in play, this is blanked. This does nothing. But as soon as she leaves play, this is on again. So, you know, she's not a bad one to have around. Now we get to the best offense. Temporary, your hero gets +1 defense. So temporary is that at the end of the round, which is after the villain's phase, this will get discarded from play. But what really makes this great is if you go past your hero gets +1 defense, use your defense in place of your thwart and attack. Ignore any modifiers to your thwart and attack. So with Nightcrawler's base defense is 3. He gets +1 just from innate reflexes. He'll get +1 from Ronin as long as we don't have any allies in play. He'll get +1 from his cutlasses when they come out. He can get +1 from the armored vest, and then +1 from defensive conditioning. So already that's 2, 3, 4, 5. He's at +5 just off of the stuff that he has at a base 3. So he has 8. He can get to 8 basically permanent defense. And then you start playing the best offense. And notice this doesn't say max 1 per player. So while I probably wouldn't do it, like, if you really wanted to go crazy, you could put on holy cow. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was crazy loud. Whoa, we don't typically get these kind of thunderstorms here, so that was kind of cool. A little scary. That actually kind of scared me. It scared my cats. But anyway, so then you can add another +3 defense. Really crazy. Standalone. Okay, so this is the one where I took out the 2 extra copies because it's max 1 per player and I don't really need 2 copies of this. I'm not sure how useful this is going to be with Nightcrawler, but we're going to see, because I specifically picked the hood with these modulars to, you know, randomly choose from, because they're going to give me a lot of attacks, basically. I want to push this deck to the limit when it comes to being attacked multiple times in a turn. I'm sure that there's another combination that probably would have worked better for that, but this is what I came up with. So yeah, we're just gonna see how it goes. But anyway, standalone is When an enemy attacks you before any defender is declared, if you do not control any allies, exhaust standalone, ready your hero. I've seen a couple of different videos. I've been avoiding videos where anybody's actually playing against the Fear No Evil campaign or any of the villains or scenarios in that deck or that in the campaign box, because I don't want to spoil that for myself. So I have watched some videos where they're playing against, other villains that aren't part of Fear No Evil. And I don't think I've seen anybody actually play this. When I tried this when I, played Echo one time. Yeah, there's the thunder again. Not quite as much as that booming one. Holy cow, that was crazy. Man, let's make sure. Yeah, my stream is still going strong. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I haven't seen anybody actually play this, but when I did the one game with Echo, this was amazing. This card, and it really pulled its weight. It was so good, because I could block the villain, and then I'd get attacked again by, a minion. Or the villain, like, I'd pull an assault out of the encounter deck, and the villain would attack me again, and I could just exhaust standalone and stand right back up and defend again. It was great. Or just stand up and take the hit, and then that way I was ready for a basic activation. So, like, this card is really good. I really like this card. Now we're on to the events. Army of One, which it's a 1 cost event, but it's got a star. Increase the cost to play this card by 1 for each ally you control, and it's just ready your hero. And I think a lot of people at first would look at this card and go, what use is that? But this can actually be incredibly useful, particularly, let's say, I've got the best offense out, and now my basic attacks are huge, especially if I've got all of my my +1 defense cards out. And, then you can do multiple attacks with that huge attack stat, basically, or huge defense stat, which is being used. Man. Oh, I get the feeling this stream is probably going to go out. I really hope that doesn't happen. But anyway, yeah, so Army of One definitely can be useful, and I think there are certain heroes that it's definitely going to be more useful for. Like, there certainly are heroes that just naturally want to be readying and using their basic abilities. I would say that this card definitely falls into more like niche deck building than a lot of other cards, and I appreciate that. I really like cards that aren't good for everybody, because then you don't feel pressured to include it in everything. It doesn't become, oh, well, I have to include it in the deck. It doesn't become an auto-include, so I appreciate that. Next up, we have In Harm's Way, which is like it's a 3-cost event. It's like Army of One, and it's got that little star, and it increases the cost to play this card by 1 for each ally you control. But it's a hero action. Deal X damage to an enemy and remove X threat from a scheme where X is your defense. This card is so good. You get your defense up super high, and you can just wipe something out and take care of all the threat. It's so good. We've got 3 copies of Powerful Punch. This is a reprint. This is a card we have seen before. It's an attack and a defense, and when an enemy initiates an attack, deal 4 damage to that enemy. So I like this card. I don't know how much I necessarily like it with this particular deck, but it is a good card. It's one that I have used in other decks, and I've really liked it because if the enemy that you're using this on is at 4 hit points or less, you basically you play this and they die before their attack goes off, so you don't have to worry about actually getting hit with that, which is super awesome. And then last but not least, we have Get Their Attention, which I think is the card that has people least excited, but I think is still fairly useful. I mean, especially when you're talking about protection. Protection is not known for being very good with threat mitigation or threat removal, and this is just straight up. When an enemy initiates an attack, remove 3 threat from a scheme, and it's a defense. So you obviously playing solo, this isn't the case, but if you're playing with a group, you know, if the enemy is going after another player, you don't want to defend for them. Like, you don't want to do a basic defense because you need your basic action for something, or you can't. You've already, used your basic defense. You can Get Their Attention, remove some threat from a scheme, and pull the attack over to you. Yes, you're going to take damage for it, but if you're prepared to take damage for it, or if you have a tough, you have really high health, whatever, that's not an issue. You don't really care. And you count as defending, so this will, if you're using it in like some sort of a defense deck where, you're getting to pop certain things off just because you defended, like this card will help you do that. Now let's look really quick at the other cards we have here. We have Unflappable, which I decided to add because, you're defending. With such a high defense, there's a very high likelihood that we're not going to be taking a whole lot of damage. So, drawing a card, that's a no-brainer. Armored Vest is going to give us +1 more defense. And Defensive Conditioning is going to give us +3 hit points and +1 defense. And then this also came in Echo's deck, Superpower Training. For Nightcrawler, this is actually really nice to be able to go and grab his cutlasses, or if you were already able to get his cutlasses out really early, you can go grab his tail. Or if you're in dire straits, you have no access to a BAMF and you really need it, this will also grab you a BAMF, though I wouldn't feel good about using it on a BAMF, but it is an upgrade. It is a hero specific upgrade, or identity specific, it specifically says. But anyway, so yeah, let's get this scenario completely set up. I was like running around trying to get everything together. It's been a week. It has definitely been a week. Just kind of long week at work, and because I was really hoping I'd be able to pick up Fear No Evil and then some other things, and so it's been. And it's only Wednesday. I got one more day. One more day of work. Hopefully they're not going to make us work overtime on Friday. Fingers crossed. Alright, we also do need to figure out which of these is going to go into the Hood's deck initially. And this doesn't seem terribly thematic, I know. I didn't look up if the Hood has ever crossed paths with any of the X-Men at all. This was literally just I know that the Hood has some, extra attack treacheries in his kit, and then also with all of the different modular sets that can get added, there is a high likelihood, if you're just picking a lot of modular sets that either A, have a lot of minions, or B, just like push for attacks, there's a good chance that you're going to get some attacks into that. So we will get these all shuffled up and ready to go. Okay, I think that's good. This just a little bit. Right there. Okay. All right. So what do we have here? We have, I know the light is all sorts of terrible. It's on my list of things that when I have enough money, I'll be fixing. But we've got the Sinister Syndicate. We've got Wrecking Crew, Beastie Boys, Mr. Hyde, Masters of Evil, Brothers Grimm, and Out for Blood. Or no, sorry, Crossfire's crew. I just read the top of this. So in order to pick, I've got some dice here. This is a D8. On an 8, I'll re-roll. Huh, and that's an 8. That is a 3. So, beast mode, Beastie Boys. Alright. So we're going to put these all... I'm going to put them in the same order, just kind of out of the screen, just to the top of my mat, so it should be easy to get to. I'm going to have to move them over just a bit. Okay. So we know we're getting that. We have the hood, we have standard, and we've got Nightcrawler's obligation. We're going to flip Nightcrawler over to Kurt Wagner. We're going to put hood 1 and 2. And that can go away. Alright. So, right. We need the hood and the standard encounter sets, which is right here. 7 modular encounter sets, set them aside, which we just did. Choose one of those sets at random, then shuffle it into the encounter deck. So we already chose that. We know that it is the Beastie Boys. So we're putting that in. We're also putting in the obligation for Nightcrawler. I hope this game doesn't go too long. It is like really hot in this room, and I have no way to cool it down, unfortunately. Okay, I think that's good. So we are making connections here. Alright, so we're going to flip this over. And it starts with 1 on it. The hood is recruiting an army, convincing various villains that they are stronger together than they are apart. When revealed, each player must resolve the hood's foul play ability in player order. So the hood has this ability, his foul play ability, where you discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card does not belong to the hood encounter set, deal it to yourself as a face down encounter card. When I played this, because I like I said, I wanted to play against not something in the box that I would have to, a new villain that I would have to really learn. I played the hood a few times. I know the hood, I think, well enough that I could concentrate on Echo. But when I played, the very first card that I drew was Shadow of the Past. So I drew a first turn Shadow. I knew it was going to come out. And it was just kind of sitting there in front of me, so that really was not great, but I actually did end up winning. I still ended up winning the game. Okay, so now we're gonna resolve his foul play ability. Let's see what comes out. An advance. Alright, so we know he's gonna scheme. He schemes for 1. This is at 1. If it gets up to 5, it'll flip over to the next one, and then we have to add another set, which I would like to avoid if at all possible. Alright, we need to draw. Oh, Kurt's Chapel. His tail, that's great. Scout ahead. Genius. The best offense. And a powerful punch. Okay, so these are not going to do me all that much use right now. Neither is that. Kurt's Chapel. As much as I would like to get this down, I think for this deck, this is probably not that big of a thing. There are decks that I have built with Nightcrawler that I have kind of built around the idea of being able to use Kurt's Chapel. Pro tip, well, maybe not a pro tip, but a tip from me, a way that I could get Kurt's Chapel to go off consistently is Weapon X. If you put Weapon X in his deck and get that down early, he's constantly, like, you constantly have a way to put at least 1 damage on him, making it so that he does have a reason to recover, because you can't recover if you're not missing hit points. So, and being able to recover is what triggers the card draw on Kurt's Chapel. So Weapon X is really great for Nightcrawler if you're looking at getting the most use out of Kurt's Chapel. Alright, so we've got Prehensile Tail and Genius. Get their attention. Tally-ho. Oh, I like to see a tally-ho. Unflappable. Oh, I like to see that early. And an Armored Vest. Oh, crap. I totally forgot. I'm gonna have to reshuffle this. Sorry. I totally botched this because, and I'm sure there's anybody who's watching this now or after the fact who's played with this knows exactly what I did wrong. I forgot to keep innate reflexes in my hand. Oh, so that awesome hand that I pulled where I had his tail and all that. Yeah, that's not happening. Alright. So I have innate reflexes in hand. I promise I'm not cheating. Everything's getting shuffled. Okay. Let's see what I get now. So I got innate reflexes. I got a Bamf. Unflappable. Okay. Ronin. I'll take that. A Port and Punch, which I don't need, and a Tally-ho. I hate to see a Tally-ho. Because this is one of those times where it's like, I'm going to have to mulligan that. I'm going to mulligan the Bamf. I want these 3 cards. So these are going to get mulliganed over here. I'm going to put the Bamfs up here. Just so I know exactly where all my Bamfs are. I mean, like, by the rules, technically you can't do that, but I do like to keep an eye on where my Bamfs are. That's one thing I learned from Crash Space, watching Andre on Crash Space play. And one thing that really helped me kind of get a hold on Nightcrawler is you want to know where your Bamfs are at any given time. You want to make sure that you have, when your deck is about to cycle, that you have a Bamf either out somewhere on the table, and it's going to stay there until after your deck cycles, or in your hand, and you're not going to use it until after the deck cycles, because then you always have access to a Bamf. Otherwise, you have to flip down into your alter ego form in order to go grab a Bamf, or you just have to top deck a Bamf, and that's not a great place to be in with Nightcrawler. He really needs Bamfs in order to work well. Alright, so we got Powerful Punch, Day Tripper, and In Harm's Way. Oh, a double would have been really nice to get Day Tripper. Though, at this point in time, she's not that important. I'm gonna use his ability to go and find a Bamf. Oh, there's one right on the bottom of the deck, and there's my prehensile tail, right at the bottom. Oh, I had it in hand and I made a mistake, and now I'm paying for it. That's just mean. Okay, so at the very least, I'm gonna be able to get everything that I want on the table. I don't need any of these 3 cards here. So those 3 are gonna pay for these 3, and then this one is just gonna go on the hood. And, you know, shout out to my friend who is at Gen Con this weekend. Super nice guy. Like, any promos that I've ever gotten from Gen Con, he's been the guy to pick him up for me. He's super nice, so I'm gonna shout out him. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna pay these 3 cards, and we're just gonna put these 3 cards into play. So as of right now, my defense stat, okay, we're gonna put unflappable over here. These don't really do anything except just kind of sit there, so we're just gonna have them over here in their own little space, but this is 2 defense right here. +2, we're flipping up to Nightcrawler, so we now have a 5 defense stat. So crazy. I'll take it. Alright, and we're gonna put Bamf on the hood. I don't know the best way to do this. There's not a lot of room here. Okay. So this is my face down encounter card. Right now, I think since I know that this is in advance and he's going to be scheming, I'm just going to use Nightcrawler, and I put away all my ready and use or exhausted tokens, so I'm not going to go dig those out. But yeah, so we'll just thwart 1 off of the main. Try to keep that as low as possible, and then we will ready and draw. Port and punch, get their attention. Port away, okay. The best offense. And Kurt's Chapel again, alright. So this is gonna go up by 1. Alright, the hood is gonna attack me for 1. Foul play won't get activated unless something tells me to activate it, so I'm not going to worry about that, but he is going to attack me for 1. I am going to... You know what, I'm just going to take the hit. I don't really think there's much of a reason for me to use this Bamf. It actually seems kind of silly, so... Oh, but I really would like to trigger Unflappable. It would be nice to trigger Unflappable. Oh, this is where having a Tally-Ho would be nice. Well, I guess I'm just going to just get their attention. That would just be waste. There's only 1 threat on the main scheme. And I know he is going to scheme because of this, but 3, 4, 5, that could actually pop the main scheme. So I'm going to use Kurt's Chapel and the best offense to get their attention. This probably total waste, but I'll remove It would remove 3, but there was only 1, so. And now I've got a port and punch that I can't play, and a port away that I also can't play because I don't have a Bamf in hand. But I do have a way to get it. Anyway, so I am technically defending now because Get Their Attention is a defense and thwart event. So he is attacking for 1, 2. So I will end up taking 2 points of damage. So I'm down to 7. Or no. I am. That's not going to trigger Unflappable because you have to take no damage. Oh! Bad choices were made. Anyway, okay, so we're just not going to trigger Unflappable. It's fine. Let me get some water. It's fine. You know, and I'll get my health back. Anyway, so I get hit for 2. And now we do encounter cards. So we knew that was an advance. So he's scheming for 1, 2, 3, 4. I am so glad I took that 1 threat off. Because that would have popped the main scheme. So, wow. Now I gotta figure out how to get all that threat off. And upper hand. The hood attacks you, resolve the hood's foul play ability. Alright, so in this case I am going to pop Bamf. I don't really want to get hit again. So I am defending for 3, 4, 5. He's attacking for 1, 2, 3. So I don't take any damage. He does end up taking a retaliate, however. Actually, he'll end up taking 2. He should have already taken a retaliate, I should say. So he should be down to 12 now. Because he attacked me before and I just took it. I forgot that I have this, the retaliate goes off even if you're not defending. So, or even if you took damage. So he took the first attack, he should have taken, the hood should have taken a retaliate. He attacked again, so we got another retaliate, so now he's down to 12. Okay, oh, and since I didn't take any damage from that, Unflappable is going to trigger, and I get to draw, oh, a Tally-Ho. Oh! Oh, that is unfortunate. That is really unfortunate. Okay. Well, because I have... Yep, my other Tally-Ho is in the discard pile, so not great, but that's okay. I wish I had an army of 1 card so that I could get rid of all the threat here. Alright, I'm going to use Port and Punch. I'm going to discard it to use his ability, or I should say spend it. I will spend the resource on that card to return a copy of Bamf from my discard pile to my hand. I'm going to put it back on the hood again. As much as I would like to play Port away, I don't think it's going to happen. Actually, you know what? I am going to hold on to Port away. Because this will allow me to flip down, heal, and then flip back up again. So I definitely want to do that next turn. I just need a Bamf in hand. So, and I'm going to keep Tally-Ho just for that purpose. Alright, so I'm going to use Nightcrawler. He's going to thwart 2 off the main. And that will be my turn. So we're ready. And we'll draw. There's defensive conditioning, scout ahead, and get their attention. Okay. Man, I really would like to get his tail out, because that would definitely help pay for some stuff. Alright, this is going to go up by 1. The hood is going to attack me again. As much as I don't want to, I'm going to use defensive conditioning to play Tally-Ho, which is going to bring Bamf back up to my hand after making me the defender of the attack. That's also going to deal 3 damage to the hood. Totally forgot it also does damage. So he's down to 9. And again, I'm defending because Bamf makes me the defender without exhausting, so I'm defending for 5. So he's attacking for 1. Just for 1. Oh, I'm glad to see that gone, because that gives the hood retaliate. I hate dealing with the villain when they have retaliate, because you have to really figure out, do I have to dump my hand essentially to get rid of whatever's giving them retaliate, or do I just really have to figure out how to manage my hit points to do the most damage? It can get old pretty quick. Okay. Oh, and I have a Crisis of Faith, so I have to flip down. I would have to discard these 2 cards. I would like to not do that, so I'm going to exhaust. And then this will leave the game, so never to be brought back again. Okay. Oh! And I totally forgot to trigger Unflappable, which I'm going to do now. The best offense. Okay, so I can do a few things here. I'm going to use his ability to go find my last Bamf. There's my cutlasses. There's my Bamf. Oh, my prehensile tail was the next card. Oh. It's not the next card now. Okay, so now I've got 2 copies of Bamf in hand. Ah, this is rough. Because I was really hoping, like, I mean, I'm at 7 hit points, it's not that bad, so I'll just flip up. I'm not gonna need get their attention because I can just play Scout Ahead. So I'll remove 3 threat from here. I'm not gonna do the rest of this because there's not another scheme for me to remove threat from, so there's that, but at least this is clear. I'm going to put Bamf on the hood. I could change to... If I use Port Away and I change to Alter Ego, I won't be able to come back up because I was in Alter Ego and I flipped up to Nightcrawler. So I'm not going to be able to use Port Away or this Bamf that's in my hand. And the best offense isn't going to be super useful this turn. So this hand is not great, and holding on to these cards is probably ill-advised. I'm going to get rid of the best offense. I want to keep Port Away. Port Away is such a good card. It's just, it has a habit of showing up at, unfortunately, the wrong time. Alright, well, we're going to ready up and draw. We'll hold it one more time. There's an army of 1, okay. There's my tail! Yay! Alright, one more. And an armored vest. Oh, look at that. Okay. So this is going up by 1. The hood is attacking. I'm just going to use my Bamf ability since I have a Bamf in hand. So I am defending for 5 still. He's attacking for 1. Just 1. Oh, and he's got to take retaliate as well. So he's down to 8. I get to trigger Unflappable because I didn't take any damage. Another army of 1. Okay. Mandrill. Okay, Mandrill gets Retaliate X, where X is equal to the number of confused characters in play. When revealed, confuse each character you control. Alright, so I am confused. And this is part of that Beastie Boys set. Alright. Well, I could get my armored vest down. I definitely want to get my prehensile tail down. Port away is just not happening, so I'm going to use port away to get out my tail. I'm going to put that right there. And then this is, I'm going to use 1 army of 1 to get out my armored vest. So we're going to put that. I like Ronin being on in the front. Ronin is just such great artwork, don't you think? So good. So now I'm defending for 6 every turn, which is great. I still only attack for 1, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm gonna put Bamf on the hood again. I could drop army of 1 to get a Bamf and put that on Mandrill. But I don't think that that's necessary. I think instead I'm going to exhaust to port so that I'm not confused anymore. I'll use the prehensile tail, which you exhaust it, it generates a wild resource for an event. We'll play army of 1 ready, and then I am going to, I'm just going to keep the threat down on this until I can kind of get everything out and running. I'm basically just trying to keep things as clean as possible. I'm not terribly worried about Mandrill. I think I'll be able to deal with him. Okay, so we're gonna ready and draw. Okay, powerful punch. Energy. The best offense. Okay. Scout ahead. And a get their attention. Man, we need that other card. The one I can't think of right now. I think actually all 3 of those are, no, in harm's way. So there's still 2 of them in the deck. Okay, so this is going up by 1. The hood is attacking. We're going to use Bamf. So all 3 of my Bamfs right now are over here. So I have to keep that in mind when I go to reshuffle, because I want to make sure at least one of these is either on the villain or a minion or in my hand in some way. Like, it's got to be somewhere that I have it accounted for, so I always have access to it. Anyway, he is attacking. I am defending without exhausting, so he's attacking for 1, 2, 3. He's attacking for 3. I take no damage. Unflappable is going to trigger. And it's going to give me an army of 1. That means the hood is going to take 1 damage, so he's down 7, we're equal. Mandrill is going to attack for 2. Now I can choose, and this might be the play, to use energy to play Powerful Punch. He's still attacking me. I'm still going to end up taking 2 damage if I don't exhaust. But that's 4 damage on him. And then I just need to do... He'll take a retaliate, so it'll be 5 damage. I just need to do 1 more damage to Mandrill, and then he's gone. I am going to take a retaliate, though, because this is considered an attack. Oh, but it's retaliate X, where the equal to number of confused characters in play. I'm no longer confused, so it's actually retaliate 0, so I would not take any retaliate. So I think this is what we're going to play. We're going to use energy to play Powerful Punch. So he'll take 4 damage, then his attack is going to go through. Nightcrawler will take 2 damage, and then he's going to retaliate. Oh, not against the hood. He's going to retaliate against Mandrill for 1. So I just need one more damage for Mandrill, and he is gone. Okay. Now we draw our encounter card. Upper hand, the hood attacks you, resolve the hood's foul play ability. Alright, so the hood is attacking me. And then what we have to do is foul play ability. Oh, I think I forgot to do that the last time I drew one of these. Crap. I gotta remember to do that. Okay. Alright, so the hood is attacking me. I think since I did draw into an army of 1, I'm going to actually exhaust. So he's attacking for 1, 2, 3, and there goes Shadow of the Past, which is, I am totally fine. Is this, it's a hood card, yes! So this gets discarded. That just, because it's part of the hood's deck, it doesn't get dealt to me as a face down encounter card, it just goes directly to discard. Perfect. Okay, the hood is going to take, because he attacked me again, he's going to take a retaliate. So he's down to 6, and this will go away, and now it's my turn again. Alright. I mean, I could... just take out the hood. When I do that, one of the last 6 of those is going to come into play. The modular sets. And then I think his foul play ends up discarding 2 cards, yeah. So there's more chances to end up with cards in front of you that you don't necessarily want there. Alright, well, I don't really need to do any of this other stuff. The best offense would be really nice. Because, I mean, that would be enough to... I could attack... I'm attacking for 6, that would take out the hood into the next one. And this would give me +1, so 7 actually. Too bad it doesn't give you overkill. Oh man, that would be amazing. I could attack Mandrill and then just overkill onto the hood. Oh, that would be crazy. Alright, I'm going to use the Prehensile Tail to play Army of 1. So we're going to ready. I'm gonna use get their attention to play the best offense. So that will just be sitting there, giving me a +1 defense and making it so that both my thwart and my attack are actually my defense stat. Which is 6 right now. 7, actually, 7. It's 7 because this gives me +1. So I think I'm just gonna go for it. We're gonna attack the hood, and we're gonna take out the hood. Phase 1, we're into phase 2. When revealed, choose one set aside modular, set and counter set at random, then shuffle it into the encounter deck. Okay, there's 6 of them. Again, we've got Sinister Syndicate, Wrecking Crew, Mr. Hyde. I kind of hope it's Mr. Hyde. The Masters of Evil, the Brothers Grimm, or Crossfire's Crew. Alright, we're gonna roll a d6. 5, so it's the Brothers Grimm. Alright. So these are getting shuffled into the encounter deck. Now we're gonna hit a lot of Brothers Grimm cards. This is not a very thick deck. At least it doesn't say to resolve his foul play ability. That would kind of suck. Now I wish I had another army of 1, but I just have a scout ahead. Alright, and the hood's new hit points 16. So I just have to add a 1. There we go. Alright, I'm at 5 hit points. Oh, alright. I'm going to use Scout Ahead to grab a Bamf and put that on the hood. So then we will ready and draw. And like I said, this is temporary, but it goes away after the villain phase. So I've still got a 7 defense stat. Oh, there's In Harm's Way. Got another powerful punch. Superpower training. Strength. And oh, stand alone. Okay. That superpower training would be super nice. That would go get me my cutlasses. Alright, this is going up to 2. The hood is going to attack me for 1. I wish I had Tally-Ho, but both of my Tally-Hos are in the discard pile. Powerful Punch isn't going to do anything. And In Harm's Way doesn't do anything. It's not a defense card, so I'm just going to Bamf. How many cards do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah, I definitely need to make sure that I have one of these on the villain, at the very least, this next turn. So he's attacking me for 1. I am defending for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2. I take no damage. Unflappable is going to trigger. Oh, hey, there's my cutlasses. Perfect. Alright, and the hood is going to take 1 retaliate. So he's down to 15. Now, Mandrill is going to attack me, and I'm going to defend, because I don't want to take any more damage. I don't take any damage because he's only attacking for 2, but he does take retaliate, which is enough to take him out, so he is gone. And now we draw Field Recruitment. When revealed, choose one set aside modular encounter set at random, then shuffle it into the encounter deck. Resolve the hood's foul play ability. Remove this card from the game. Perfect. Alright. Well, before we do anything. Alright, so we've got 5. They're still in the same order. I'm just going to roll this d6 and re-roll on a 6. 2. So we've got Wrecking Crew. Oh, I don't want to do the Bell Play ability. Okay. Alright, so discard the top 2 cards. 1, 2. Terrific. Okay, deal the first card discarded this way that does not belong to the Hood encounter set to yourself as a face down encounter card. Alright, so that goes to discard. We're getting Wrecker. And while he's attacking, he gets +2 attack if the attack is undefended. Okay. Then this is removed from the game, so we're going to put it over here. And since, let's see, Mandrill attacked, the Hood attacked. Four, 5. That was the card we pulled for the encountered card. So now this one is here, and it's going to get flipped. So it's Wrecker. Thankfully, he does not have Quick Strike, so he's not going to attack, but he does have Villainous, so we have to worry about that. This, temporary, so it goes away. Okay, I really want to get Standalone out. So I'm going to use Superpower Training to grab Bamf and immediately put that on Hood. So I know that I have a Bamf that is going to be accessible in the next turn. I'm going to use Strength to get my Cutlasses out. So this is going to give me +1 attack, +1 defense, and Retaliate 1. With Ronin, that gives me Retaliate 2. And that means that my defense stat is now 7. Which is just great. I am going to use Powerful Punch to put out Standalone. When an enemy attacks you, before any defender is declared, if you do not control any allies, exhaust Standalone to ready your hero. So this will be... This will be nice. I kind of wonder though... Actually, you know what? Instead of putting Bamf on the Hood, I'm going to put it on Wrecker. That seems like the better call here. Especially, so with Standalone, I can just exhaust to deal with the Hood's attack next turn. And then when Wrecker wants to attack me, I can trigger Standalone before I trigger Bamf. Stand Nightcrawler up, and then I can just Bamf. Bamf would work even if I was down, but I want to make sure, like, I would like to be standing again, because this is about to roll over, or to like recycle, or to cycle again, or again, for the first time, this is about to cycle, so there's a good chance that I could run into another copy of the best offense. I say good, but I mean, that means all 3 are going to be in there, so better than right now. And if that happens, I can do massive attack on the Hood, or, you know, on Wrecker, because Wrecker is 8 hit points, so I'm going to put the Bamf on Wrecker. That just seems the better thing to do. And I'm going to hold on to In Harm's Way, just because, again, this is going to be a massive... a way to do a bunch of damage, and also to take care of threat as well. I can't do anything else at this point, so I'm going to ready. We're keeping In Harm's Way and drawing. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, my teleport drop. Perfect. That's going to draw me an encounter card. We'll put that right here. So that's 4 cards. See, man, Echo's Precon is just, it works really well for Nightcrawler. I think, like, there's some things that I would definitely tweak that I think would make this work a lot better. But overall, like, he's, you know, the fact that he's so defense-centered really makes this shine for him. And there it is. There's the best offense. Perfect. All right. This is going to go up by 1, so it's at 3 now. The Hood is attacking me for 1. I am exhausting. So he's attacking for 1. 2 now, because he's got his pistol. He's got the Hood's pistol. So we're going to put that right there. Sorry, it's so hard to see, I know. We'll put it right there. So, yeah, he's attacking for 2 now. I'm not going to take any damage. Like I said, I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm defending for 7 right now. This is ridiculous. And then the Hood is going to take 2 retaliate damage, because I have 2 retaliate now with my cutlasses and Ronin. Wrecker is going to attack. I'm going to use standalone because I don't have any allies in play to ready Nightcrawler. Then I'm going to use Bamf to make myself the defender without exhausting. He's villainous, so he's hitting me for 2, 3, 4, 5. He's hitting me for 5. And I'm not taking any damage because I'm blocking for 7. But he is going to take 2 retaliate, so he takes 2 damage. Now we draw our encounter cards. This is going to draw. Okay. Top talent. Hinder 2. The villain and each elite minion gain retaliate 1. Okay. So he is elite and the villain now has retaliate. But I have a way to get rid of that, so I'm not too worried about it. So, let's see, 3. So this is going to have 5 on it. Alright. And now we got Thunderball, who is also villainous. And after Thunderball attacks you, deal 1 damage to each character you control. Alright. Well. 4, 5. Wait. Did I trigger Unflappable? I did not trigger Unflappable. Why is this exhausted? I don't think I readied it. So I should have exhausted this and triggered it because I didn't take any damage, but I did defend. Alright, Scout Ahead. That's actually kind of a good draw. It'll help me get the threat down on these both. I have 2 copies of In Harm's Way. If I can pay for both of these... Oh, there's no way. But I do have a teleport drop. So I could do 8 damage plus... So with a teleport drop. So Genius will pay for a teleport drop. So that's 8 damage right there. I could get the best offense down. Oh, that won't work because I don't have enough resources. I also still need to actually go grab a Bamf. But let's see, because I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 8. That's 15 damage right there. So I do have lethal. Neither of these have guard. I would take a point of retaliate because of top talent. but I do have, because I could drop, so let's say I discard Scout Ahead to go grab a Bamf. I put the Bamf on the hood. I use Genius to pay for teleport drop. So I discard the Bamf from the hood. Oh, and I forgot to put these back in the deck. Like, talked so much about it, and then I totally forgot to put them back in. Ugh. I'm gonna blame the heat. It's so hot here. Okay, so Scout Ahead. I still had this one Bamf because it was out before that cycled. So I put that on the hood. Teleport drop. I have to discard the Bamf from the hood. That does 8 damage to him. Then I can use the best offense, Prehensile Tail, and the other In Harm's Way to play In Harm's Way. And that is going to deal 7 damage to the hood. Plus remove 7 threat from A Scheme, which, you know, I guess top talent. We'll get rid of top talent. Not that it's really going to do all that much. Alright, so Scout Ahead, Bamf the hood. We're going to Genius and Teleport drop the hood. So we're discarding a copy of Bamf and dealing 8 damage to him and stunning him. Not that that really matters, because... Okay, so this is going to take me down to... Oops. 5. Yeah, 5. Okay. And I'm going to take a Retaliate from that because it is an attack. So I'm at 4 hit points. Then we're going to use Prehensile Tail, the best offense, and In Harm's Way to play In Harm's Way. So we're dealing 7 damage. The hood is at -2. So, yeah, I mean, these cards work so good with Nightcrawler. They do. This is pretty much everything that he wants to be doing. Even with all of this kind of lone wolf archetype stuff, this is exactly the type of thing that works really well with Nightcrawler. I've been having a lot of fun, like the Nightcrawler decks that I have played more recently. Not super recently, but recently in relation to the previous Nightcrawler decks that I played. I was really noticing that I didn't want to be putting a lot of allies into the deck. And I think the last deck that I really built for him, there were hardly, I think, again, it was the one ally. It was just Day Tripper, and that's because she's part of his kit. He just works so well without needing allies around. So, you know, all these cards that kind of lend help towards that whole lone wolf archetype, it really kind of amplifies his abilities, I think. Because, I mean, you could see how easy it was to get built up with all of his defense, and then, like, nothing, once that happened, nothing could touch him. I sat at, 5 for quite a while, and, the only reason I went down to 4 was because Retaliate. So, yeah, this is really good. I had a lot of fun playing this game. Nightcrawler is just... I love Nightcrawler. I think he works really well. And I know a lot of people don't share that there are a lot of people who don't share that opinion, but I really think that he's actually really well designed. He feels like Nightcrawler. He feels like he's kind of, popping in and out all the way, like, around the table doing things. Especially when you're playing with other people and you've got, multiple bamps out around the table, and you're basically just popping in and saying, nope, I'll take that attack, and I'll take that attack, I'll take that attack. Yeah, he's just so much fun, and now with all of these cards that make it easier for him to, ready, or even to just add to his defense stat, it's so good. It really is so good. Now I'm really gonna have to put together a deck with a lot of these cards that is just kind of more centered specifically on what he wants to do. Like, I do not have any issues with Get Their Attention. I think this is a good card in the right deck. And I don't know that this deck is necessarily the best thing for this, but I do definitely want to play this more, because this is actually pretty useful. I mean, you saw at the beginning it actually was fairly useful, getting rid of threat. But yeah, like, just these cards, even Army of One. Nightcrawler is not necessarily considered like a hero where you're doing a lot with your basic stuff, but you combine Army of One with the best offense, and man, you can do a lot of damage, you can do a lot of thwarting. You could build an entire thwart deck. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but you could build basically an entire thwart deck just based off of Get Their Attention, the best offense, and Army of One, with a hero that has a high defense stat. Oh, that could be a fun puzzle to deal with. I didn't even have defensive conditioning out. Oh, that was a lot of fun. I'm definitely looking forward to doing more of these where I take one hero's precon and give it to a different hero, and see how that works. Beyond that, I think, so because obviously I've got the new cards now, so I do have the Fear No Evil box, and so over this weekend I will be playing more Echo and working on a good aggression deck for her. My first inclination is to include a whole bunch of attack events, but I do need to remember she can't thwart. Like, she does have a 2 thwart stat, but she has no thwarting events. She has no attack events. Everything triggers off her, I think it's Photographic Reflexes card. And so she's definitely going to need some thwarting cards in that deck. I am putting multi-talented in. I think that is going to work with her. I think it will work with her pretty well. Or maybe it won't because you're reducing the cost to pay. Which means that at least 2 of the things on her card won't be able to trigger. I don't know. Actually, you know what? Now that I think of it, so there's another card. If you've been with this game for a while, you probably know what card this is that I'm talking about. It actually came in Gamora's pack, if I remember correctly, but I think it's called Hit and Run. It is a 3-cost card. It's both thwart and attack traded, and it's basically like do 2 damage to an enemy, like remove 2 threat from a scheme, something like that. It's the same thing as multi-talented, except it doesn't have the heal 2 points from your identity, or however that's phrased. And I'm pretty sure it's 2 points. But anyway, it's got the exact same thing, like the same damage and threat removal. It's just as multi-talented, it just doesn't have the healing part. And so I think I would consider it a worse card. Like, multi-talented would always be a better card to put in a deck. But now that I think about it, Hit and Run is actually probably a really good card for Echo. Because Echo, she's going to reduce the cost. So if you played it already and then you tucked it underneath her when you're using photographic reflexes to play it from underneath her, you're reducing the cost by 2, so then it only costs you 1 to play. But you don't have to hit any triggers in order for both of those to go off with Hit and Run, where you do for multi-talented. Oh, I didn't even think about that before. So she's one hero where Hit and Run is actually the superior card. Oh, that's so interesting. See, this is why I don't like to say that a card is useless and completely avoid ever using it, because there are things that come out later in the game. As more heroes get added, these cards can gain new life. More heroes, more allies, other cards that will help trigger something about these cards. Like, I don't think anybody played, what's it called? The surveillance? No. Not interrogation room. Surveillance team. That's right. It was surveillance team. Like, surveillance team just wasn't a card that people would put into their decks. And then I forget which hero she came out with, but it was Monica Chang. And now, if you're running Monica Chang in your deck, you're running 3 copies of Surveillance Team. You're just always running 3 copies of Surveillance Team, because she can grab them, put them into play, and then she gives all of the ones that are in play an extra token, or an extra counter. So they just keep being useful. They can just sit out and keep being useful the whole time if you've got ways to recur Monica Chang. So I think there's always ways for new cards to gain, or for old cards to gain some life when newer cards come out. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try that Hit and Run in an aggression deck for Echo. I think they'll work really well with her. Another thing, one thing I have been working on this weekend, since I didn't have the box, the Fear No Evil box, was I had this idea. So I'm not gonna go too into it right now. I've still got some testing that I need to do. But there is one particular ally that I haven't looked up the stats. I haven't looked up on Marvel CDB how often it's been used, or if it's been used in any recent decks. I would hazard a guess that it has not. But it came out pretty close to the start of the game, like within the first couple of waves, and it is definitely considered not a good ally. Just the cost for what it does, people don't like to play it. That being said, because of what it does and new design spaces that the game has gone in, I actually think there are use cases for this ally. And it's never, I think, going to be an ally that I would put in every single build for that aspect. But if I wanted to tech for like certain modular sets, or maybe not so much villains right now, but definitely certain modular sets, this hero is actually not, or hero, this ally is actually not a bad choice. And I know, like, I'm being very vague about it, but that's because I'm still trying to figure out kind of the best ways to make it work. And it is janky as all get out, but when you can make it work, it's so fun. Like, it's not a card that you would add if if you're wanting to win right away in a game, but if it's a game that you want to do really janky stuff with, and it includes, certain modular sets, it's one where you can definitely do some really fun, interesting things using this particular ally. And I would really, really like to kind of see it have like one of those moments where people are actually looking at it. It's like, oh, I can use that for something. And not just kind of, completely relegated to the dustbin of history, of Marvel Champions history. Anyway, yeah, that's another thing that I'm going to go over in a video in the future. For right now, man, what time is it? That was a fast game. That was a really fast game. But for now, I think I'm gonna stop the stream. Gonna do some reading. I'm gonna try to get. I say this every night and it never happens, but I am gonna try to get to bed early tonight. Hopefully tomorrow is like a chill day. I said that last Thursday, and by after lunch I was so angry. Things were done, schedules were changed. And I was not a happy camper at the end of last Thursday, which was supposed to be a chill day. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But anyway, I hope you guys have a good time watching. Like, if you didn't watch this while it was live, and you're just watching it as a replay, I hope you had a good time watching. And that, you'll join me next week for Echo. I'm not sure who I will face with Echo. I might actually go up against one of the new things, since this weekend I'll be able to actually hopefully get through playing at least some of the new villains and scenarios. We'll see how that goes. And then we'll see. I gotta figure out what my next combination of Precon and hero that I want to put together, and then the villain that I want them to face for the next whose Precon is it anyway. let's see if I can have some fun putting that together. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys had a good time watching the stream, and I will see you guys next week. Here's hoping that you don't get caught off guard.